Welcome back. You're watching the Intel Extreme Masters Singapore. I'm Todd, and with me is Idra. We're going to be casting another Protoss versus Zerg here again today. We had a good cast yesterday. It was fun. The superior race won in the end, but Protoss is going to have another chance today.
Yeah, it's going to be San against EffOrt. San, the PvZ specialist. EffOrt, the really good player. Not sure which one's going to reign supreme there.
The really good player.
Yes,
that's his name.
That's my intro for him. But San is a PvZ specialist, as I said, a very aggressive player. Like we said, Squirtle, he used to be very cheesy. He's kind of matured into, he will do 2-base all-ins, but he's more
about every Protoss.
This is true, because they all are. And Squirtle's matured into a more macro-oriented player. San still really likes the 2-bases. He can macro. He will make a 3rd base if necessary, but he doesn't really want to. He wants to kill you quick. And we saw him do that to quite a few Zergs earlier in the tournament.
EffOrt, how much do you know about this Zerg versus Protoss? And what can you tell us? Yesterday you had some great insight about Hydra. Are you familiar with EffOrt?
EffOrt I'm not as familiar with. I don't think he's honestly been as prolific in Pro League. Like you said, Hydra was kind of, if anything, CJ's ace, and he had just brilliant win statistics in ZVZ and ZVP. EffOrt hasn't played quite so much. He had some streaks earlier on in StarCraft 2 as Kespa switched over, where he was clearly very good. He has the mechanics, you know, to be on par with the Flashes, the Jaedongs, the Bisus, even back in Brood War. So he's really fast. He's going to do whatever he does really well. And he played a very, in the games we saw earlier, he was playing ZVZ. He's playing very similarly to in Brood War. He just very smart unit movement, really good macro, really good unit control, just generically good, but not too stylistically special. Nothing amazing about him. And if anything, maybe a little bit too conservative. He tended to open gasless, and then DRG would just take a 3rd base and slowly out macro him.
Okay, so I know yesterday I asked you this about Hydra. Now we know a little bit less about EffOrt versus Protoss, but in general, who would you compare him to as one of the household names out there? Is he more like, again, a Dongregu, somebody like Life?
Honestly, in StarCraft 2, I'm not sure if I remember seeing a ZVP from him. He had a lot of great series against Flash, and we've seen the ZVZs recently.
I mean, in general.
Oh, in general?
Including all matchups.
It's hard to say. There's no Zerg who really lines up with him particularly well. Maybe similar to Jaedong. They have very similar strengths. Very macro-oriented, very big game-oriented, some questionable decision-making early on every once in a while. I would say that's the best comparison. Back in Brood War, him and Hydra were actually like kind of twins, especially in ZVP. Very, very similar styles. So if that...
Which was? What was their style?
Oh, well, in StarCraft 2, it's kind of Hydra Ling into Muta. And in StarCraft 1, it was very, very Ling heavy. Like using Lings just everywhere around the map to buy themselves time, get into Lurker, Ling, Defiler, and Ultras, just very late game oriented. Just buy themselves times with Zergling movement and then go into the late game.
Then do you think there is any chance we might see some kind of double evolution chamber into Ling heavy style into Ultra, or is not that viable?
I really dislike that style. If it works, it looks amazing. Like if you win the first engagement, if you get in, you kill some sentries, then it just kind of snowballs. But I really feel it's a very... He seemed very conservative in his ZVZs, and that is the least conservative style ZVP. It had that one little streak where Leenock used it to basically win DreamHack, or I think it was that tournament. And it looked really good for about a week or two. Then Protoss kind of just stopped attacking into it and started winning.
All right, I think we've covered EffOrt pretty well. Now San, he's somebody who recently has become very fond of Oracle. I mean, what Protoss has not. And versus Zerg in particular, he's going to go for those big gateway aggressions, but after a gateway expansion, he's going to go up to 3 or 4 gateways, start warping in Zealots, but he's not going to attack directly. He's going to scout with his Mothership Core. If he sees that there is not enough units, sometimes even if there is enough, he's going to keep on warping in Zealots basically endlessly until he reaches the critical mass he needs to attack. And I've seen him be so successful with this. He's one of the only players who does it the way he does it. And I think that's why it's so successful, because the Zergs, they don't know how exactly to counter. They get a bunch of Zerglings, but at the same time, they're afraid to get too many and basically not to make enough drones. So at some point, they stop making Zerglings, they get drones, and I guess that's when he attacks. And he's going to be very tricky defending.
That sounds a lot like the games he played against Shigwa, and he kind of just won with that. Like he just waited, like you said, waited for the proper moment and went in. And that's why I'm such a big proponent of hatch first into speedling. I feel like if you don't get the pylon, if you get someone with the game sense of San and just the comfort with that style, he's going to sit there and he's going to make you be inefficient one way or another. You're either making so many Zerglings you can't die, but you have no drones, or you start making drones and you die.
So you think if he can set up his pylon near the 3rd base of the Zerg, there is Like you're already behind, kind of. Like
pretty much.
He's going to be able to warp in as many zealots as he wants, and then at worst, he ends up recalling.
The Protoss has the option to be ahead at that point. As long as he makes the right decision, as long as he judges your drone production and his zealot production correctly, he can end up ahead 100% of the time. But it's up to him to make the right decision.
All right, our first map here is going to be played on Yonsu. Sand versus EffOrt. You see EffOrt right now on your screen. Already kind of spamming or something, trying to get warmed up, maybe?
Yeah.
Very important game. Always nice to start best of 5 with a 1-0 lead. And let's get into the game as we have our red Protoss Sand starting in the bottom left-hand corner. And you did such a good job yesterday with the introduction that I want you to do EffOrt.
Okay. And here in the top right, as the blue Zerg representing Team CJ, we have EffOrt.
You're actually much better than me at this. This is quite disturbing.
No, I'm not. I just say the words. There's nothing behind them.
You had some enthusiasm today. I like this.
I'm an EffOrt fanboy, that's why.
Okay. Would you prefer EffOrt or Hydra?
EffOrt. Hydra's ZVT made me uncomfortable to watch. I don't know.
Why?
It was very awkward. It felt like he didn't want to play his ZVT. Maynard was actually saying that after the match. It just looked like he wanted to get the game over with and go play a Protoss somewhere.
You know all about that, don't you?
No, I don't mind ZVT too much. It's probably my favorite matchup, as frustrating as it can be.
Okay.
I really don't like ZVP, though.
Which is better, Hydra or Hydra?
Well, he's certainly the better player. I like my name better, though. It's more creative.
All right. San, it looks like he wants to go for a gateway opener in his main. No wall off here at his ramp or anything. Oh, hold on. Okay, yeah, he does go for the gateway. Had me doubting for a second because he rallied his Nexus onto the minerals, but changed last second.
He's just messing with us. And that pool first, actually a very early pool, a 13 pool from, well, not very early, but early-ish pool from EffOrt, a 13 pool. So maybe he's going to make some early zings of the Zerglings and try and mess with Sand's production. If Sand goes straight for a Nexus and then just up to a Mothership core with no units, maybe he gets a probe kill. And he should at least get some scouting information. Only one gas from Sand.
How do you think EffOrt is familiar with Sand here, if at all? Like yesterday we talked about this during Hydra versus Squirtle, and we thought he probably does not know all that much about him, but at least a minimum.
He's not really a prolific GSL player right now. I don't know if he's made it into Code S anytime recently. And EffOrt probably just sitting there practicing for Pro League 24/7. That's kind of what the Kespa teams did. I would be surprised if he was overly familiar. And the Korean ladder, everyone is a barcode. No one has any idea who they're playing, unless you're actually on a team with someone like you know their rank.
Yeah, but San actually streams a lot. Then again, EffOrt, going into his tournament, I'm pretty sure he didn't know he was going to have to face San at some point. So
this is getting deeper. It's not like a group where he knows he's going into a group of 4 players. Maybe you prepare for a bit for each of them.
6 Zerglings were made, by the way.
Yeah, that early pool, going to try and take advantage of that with the 6 Zerglings coming out. But we have a Zealot already finished from San, so he's unlikely to take any damage here.
We'll see. As he's actually going for his scouts before his Nexus here, very early scouts, wants to be safe. This is actually a very typical Sand opener here. I kind of took it from him because I studied his replays a lot. He was doing very well versus Zerg. So from there, you can basically go into anything. One of the only things that will be very good against this is some heavy aggression with like quick speed. Getting the probe.
EffOrt does already have the gas. He's already halfway to 100 gas for that speedling upgrade. So he has to be careful here. 6 Zerglings can surround and kill that Zealot.
I meant quicker than this, and he's actually bringing a probe that has some gas in it. Sand already doing some mistake. This is going to get surrounded. This is disastrous here.
He killed a Zealot without losing a link. The probe did finish that one off. But 1 probe and 1 Zealot kill, those Zerglings are well worth it. They're making Sand very uncomfortable right now. They're going to pick at that Nexus. The Mothership core going to force him back. How is there a probe in his base?
He went for the scout and...
Does EffOrt know about that, I wonder?
He actually just saw the hatchery in the natural. No, I don't think he knows.
The hatchery hadn't finished, so he didn't have vision. He has no idea that's there.
Sand didn't go into the main. He just hit this there, and I think, well, we've talked about how much he likes to warp in Zealots. I'm pretty sure he's going to go for at least 2 extra gateways, maybe 3.
You're down in the main. EffOrt's actually scouting that there's only the 1 gas from Sand, so he knows that a gateway rush is a likelihood. That Zergling scouting everything. Oh, he knows.
Oh, wow. That game sense, man.
Yeah.
These CJ guys off the probe. Don't try to proxy a pylon against them because they will find it and they will kill it.
Hydra was excellent about shutting that down yesterday as well. I wonder if you saw that or if that's just because that's not normal.
I think he must have seen the probe go across the map with his Zerglings.
So he has to know it somewhere, yeah.
Yeah. We didn't notice, sadly. But yeah, that must... It's either that or EffOrt has just the sickest game sense. And 12 Zerglings on the way. Do you think he can do anything with this?
12 Zerglings and he has Speedling. A Zealot's walking across the map. Ooh. Oh, so this is defensive. He saw the one gas. He knows a gateway rush is coming. He's making the speedlings to defend it. Roach Warren coming as well. Pylon is going to finish, though.
It looks like EffOrt. He knows exactly what he's up against here. Great read. I don't know if it's because he did any research, but this is going to go pretty well, I think, for him. I think a lot of players, when they have a match like this, they watch VODs of the tournament. So EffOrt here, he definitely must have seen Sigua versus San.
Yeah, CJ has a coach along with him. It's kind of his responsibility at a tournament like this to just watch VODs, find anything he can about his players' opponents, especially for a bracket match like this. But EffOrt's going kind of aggressive here. He's not shutting down that forward pylon at all.
He should not do too much. Might be able to get a pylon there, but he's losing a few Zerglings. And San's going for the attack here. He's thinking about it.
There's roaches coming out, and EffOrt's so confident. He's actually making drones at the same time. He sees 4 zealots waltz into his base, and he makes a couple of drones. That is very good game sense, very good confidence.
I'm starting to understand why you're an EffOrt fanboy, because he's played this beautifully already. Great reads all over the place, but San, he's doing what he likes to do the best. He keeps on warping in zealots, and EffOrt has no vision right now, so he does not know.
And so EffOrt actually killed a pylon with that Zergling aggression.
Yeah, that's
kind of weird.
Not gonna supply block him though.
No.
Oh, and San goes for the attack here. Some time warp might go down. He tries to go for the queen. Nice micro by EffOrt. These roaches, they're definitely going to have a lot of work to do here, as there are a lot of zealots. The queen falls, but I mean, those zealots, if they don't kill drones here, I mean, they're not going to be really worth it.
Yeah, 1 or 2 drones. The queen kill is nice. He didn't have an extra queen, so he will miss some injects from that. But trading 6 zealots for a queen, I mean, he opens it up to the mothership core harass. He has to walk down the queen from his main to drive that away. But I don't know if that was really worth it.
Yeah, this is definitely annoying here, but 40 probes against 41 drones. Now EffOrt, he has enough units to feel confident to make drones, basically, only from now on. Yeah, for some time at least.
For the next 2 or 3 minutes, he's making nothing but drones, unless he feels like going for an attack, and I don't see that happening.
Warp Prism out of Sand, what do you make of this? Does he go for a Warp Prism up the ramp with sentries?
I think so. He has a lot of sentries built up, a lot of mana on some of them, and that's a style I've seen him do before. That's something he really likes to do. Oh, did he cancel it for the warp for the Immortal?
Oh, yeah. Just canceled it. Changed his mind. He probably thought, well, you know what, this guy is already seeing everything. How is he not going to see a Warp Prism headed for his base? Yeah. He's going to be ready to defend, and then from there, I mean, only goes downhill if you invest into this and you don't have any Immortal. So might go for an Immortal push. He's adding gateways now. And he's took all his gases.
Adding more gateways like that, it has to be an Immortal attack, especially on a map like this where the third is so hard to take. Yep, Burrow coming out for EffOrt.
This is really cool here, what we're seeing of EffOrt. He actually started Burrow before Lair.
Yeah.
So
Hydra actually did similar things in a couple of his ZVPs yesterday, so maybe this is a CJ thing. Hydra actually didn't make any use of the Burrow, though, but here it could be useful. Sand is playing a little bit greedy, no Observer, so that Burrow is going to make the units essentially invincible.
Yeah, remember, Hydra won before Burrow could be useful. So when that happens, you're pretty happy regardless.
You're okay with that wasted investment there.
And okay, 2 Immortals are out. San is actually going to close his wall completely at his natural, and getting Warp Prism behind this. This is going to be a 2 Immortal push with the 7 gate that he has.
Lots of Lings coming out from EffOrt, and his lair has not finished yet, so he hasn't even started up Roach speed.
Oh, EffOrt doing a good job of buying himself some time here too. He has to be careful not to lose too many of these Lings, and there's actually quite some Roaches out already. 20 Zerglings. Do you like how he's mixing Zerglings with Roaches? Is it a good ratio? Oh, he's going to get trapped.
Ah, but the Burrow comes in handy there. Really nice by EffOrt.
There is no Observer on the way yet. The one is in production. The first Observer is going to rejoin this. If San stays here, are these Roaches trapped for the time? Oh, he's stepping above them.
He has enough Zealots. I think it's okay, though. Because it's not like popping up in the middle of Stalkers.
Well, in the middle of sentries and sniping them.
Yeah.
This is what he's going to do here. Oh, he could close the wall behind him.
But the Zerglings get in somehow.
Wow, how did this happen?
I guess he missed the force field. He didn't have a complete wall in there. And keeping the Roaches alive, I guess not. It looks like there's no pylon.
There was one. He closed it before leaving, but
he must
maybe
have canceled it. There's no way he killed it with Zerglings. Burrow saves the drones as well. The Roaches are picking off all the pylons, but he does have a Warp Prism there to continue to reinforce. And Sam's going for the... Oh, he's going for the kill.
Hey, he actually doesn't have his Mothership Core with him. If he gets in trouble here, cannot even recall. He does have a whole bunch of force fields and the Warp Prism there to reinforce. He needs to force field behind. Oh, he's going to let a lot of those Roaches go up the ramp here. He's going to start losing sentries left and right. He might have let too many of those Roaches go up the ramp.
I think he did, with the drones coming in as well and the sentries being focused down. Really good control from EffOrt there, and only the 2 Immortals, not the 3 you see on some of the later rushes.
And no more
this
force
is definitely going to get cleaned up. Really nice play by EffOrt. He lost the third.
Yeah.
At what cost?
45 probes actually against 39 drones. This is not as bad as I thought for San here.
He did pull the drones there, and I guess San was doing a better job of focusing down the drones than I thought, but at the cost of his entire army. So.
Pretty sure he was on attack move. Automatically happened.
And he drops into the main, but oh, he almost lost an immortal.
And actually San, is that a closed wall in his central? I don't think so, but it's not gonna matter. I guess he's warping his sentries. He's rebuilding the same army, basically, the same low tier army. He's at least getting a forge. And you know what? EffOrt, he wanted to drone behind this because he lost a whole bunch of economy. So this harass here is brilliant by San because he's gonna force more units. And actually he's doing quite some damage. One of those immortals getting very low on hit points here. 18 kills on one of those, 13 on the other one. And San is doing work in this game. Actually, those roaches burrowed outside of the base of San. Here,
but he has an observer there, so he can just take them down. He's going to lose the main hatchery. EffOrt really underestimated that War Prism harass. He sent his roaches to attack when he really needed them to defend.
And the lair is going to die here.
He has one active hatchery, one active mineral line right now.
Man, those immortals, 15 kills and 22 now. They have done so much. The spine is going to fall as well. And EffOrt finds himself on one base, completely oversaturated there as well. And only basically on roach tech. I can see mortals, sentries, and zealots.
Yeah, now he has to rally one hatchery roaches into those two immortals up a ramp with a War Prism. I think if San really wanted to, he could just warp in and kill there, but he's going to go for the safe route, just micro those immortals, build up another army, and then go in and finish it up a bit later. Cute little immortal micro from San there, but he loses one.
Yeah, messed up here maybe a little bit, and EffOrt's going to transfer some drones to the third base, which is now, I guess, the natural.
Yeah, he hasn't even rebuilt his main yet, so and he doesn't have the lair, so no option to go up to Hydra or Infest or anything. And a 3 immortal army coming out against roaches and not even lings.
I mean, this is going to be way too much. There's 4 immortals now. He's getting a 5th one behind, about to come out. He keeps on warping in sentries and zealots. EffOrt has to be careful. I know he has burrow, but now there is an observer. This is a completely different story than the last push here. San with a huge supply lead, looking to finish this game, looking to secure the first win here. He's ahead on army, ahead on worker, and EffOrt in a world of trouble. How does he stop this? Like, I mean, what kind of miracle do you need?
At this point, he doesn't. He's down 30-some supply. He can only make roaches, and there's 3 immortals there. It's just, this is a death kill, or a death push.
GG is going to be called, and San looking very happy here, winning the first map. Where do you think EffOrt went wrong here? I like the burrow.
It's hard to say. I thought he did a lot of good things there. Sending the roaches out to counterattack for sure was not a good choice. Even maybe the Zergling counterattack, because that cost him that third base.
Yeah.
And it wasn't going to do any kind of lethal damage to San. He was always just going to make some Zergling, or make some Zealots, make some force fields, keep himself alive, even at the cost of a couple of gateways. And then 2 base versus 2 base with Immortal tech up, that gets kind of dicey. But then sending the roaches for sure was an overextension. He just underestimated how much the Immortals could do in that War Prism.
You think there is no way he could have got Tunneling Claws on time? Because he was getting speed, I guess.
His lair was very late.
Yeah, he did burrow then lair, so it doesn't seem like an option. But yeah, I guess counter-attacking with the Zerglings, he needed those Zerglings. And also, I mean, San even made a mistake by letting this many roaches go up the ramp. If he hadn't done that, imagine, he might have ended the game right there and then. With those sentries, San made this push look unstoppable here.
It is a very strong map for 2 base all-ins. It's just such a short rush distance. The third bases are all very exposed. So a good map for his style, a good choice of build for the map. But overall, just looking back, considering the map, I think it was not very surprising that San played that way and that it was quite successful.
And it wasn't your typical Protoss versus Zerg, where Zerg takes the third base early on and drones a lot. Now, EffOrt, he really wanted to counter this big gateway aggression. He did well against it, but then he didn't have the economy he should have at some point compared to if he had played a little bit greedier. Yeah. So as well as he countered this huge Zealot attack, it feels like San achieved what he wanted to. He kept the Zerg on low econ, and then when he goes for the attack, there is only 2 hatcheries making units. The third just finished and cannot kick in just yet, so very well done. And Belcher Vestige is going to be our second map.
I think it did show that EffOrt's prepared for San, though. I mean, like, he knows how he plays, and he has an idea of what he wants to do against it.
All right. Our second map here going to be Belcher Vestige, and in the top left-hand corner, we're going to have San. Victor in the first map. I'm going to let you do EffOrt again because you did such a good job.
In the bottom right from Team CJ, we have the Blue Zerg EffOrt.
Kind of like Hydra. We talked about this, the CJ face.
Oh, yes. Yeah, no emotion from them. If he wins, he'll look the exact same way.
Really?
Or if he loses, he'll look the exact same way. Yep.
Not a smile.
Nope.
Not a sad face.
I think that's true of a lot of StarCraft players. Even some of the non-Koreans, just very unexpressive.
Well, what do you think that is? Very focused?
It's a very internal game. It's not like a sport where you're putting out, like you have other people to interact with and you're putting out a ton of energy and whatnot. Everything is very...
I think you're very focused and into it, because once the game starts, you have to be only thinking about the game. People used to always ask me when I played Warcraft, why don't you look happy? I'm like, well, for 5 minutes after the game ends, I'm still kind of in the game, thinking about it, about everything that happened, my mistakes and all that.
And it's kind of weird being too expressive when you're on your own. Like, you don't clap at the TV when you see something good happen. You clap when you're in. Well, weird people do.
Beer.
Weird. Well, that doesn't count. Most people aren't too drunk when they're playing tournament matches for StarCraft.
Yeah.
So.
All right, Gateway. This time we say wall in by San. Gonna go for a standard gas behind it. And this is really his go-to build versus Zerg. We don't see him go for Forge Expand often. He can do it. He can pull it off very well, but a lot of the time he's not gonna be using it. And look at EffOrt scouting for a cannon rush here, actually.
After going hatchery first on Belshir, which takes quite a bit of courage in itself. And this is one place where I think EffOrt really excels past Hydra. The diversity of builds we've seen has already surpassed him. So Hydra did the exact same, very conservative thing every time. EffOrt, first game he opens up with a 13 bull into quick speedling. Second game he opens up with hatchery first on Belshir. So he's willing to take some risks and mix it up and try and get into his opponent's head.
It was you yesterday who were saying hatch first or die trying. So on Belshir Vestige, the only map you would not do it?
I think you might as well even do it here, especially against a player like San. You know he's going to try and go for that gateway pressure. I really think if you don't have speedling, it's likely to be successful. But if you do have speedling, if you catch that probe, you catch the pylon before it gets down, you just stop it in its tracks and you end up ahead almost for free.
Okay, so EffOrt essentially here is playing the style that you've said you thought would be best against what San does. He's getting the speed quickly, but in the first game it didn't work out. So he has to do something different here. Assuming he's going to be facing the same thing from San, which so far looks very identical.
Yeah, but like you said, in that first game, he sacrificed so much to get that speed out, and he didn't even kill the pylon. He still let the Zealots get in. But here he has the hatchery first. He's going to have a much better economy to work off of. So as long as he shuts it down as well as he did there, I think it'll work out much better for him. And
keep in mind, in the first game, we had a pool 13 and 6 links made early on, which actually changes a lot from your standard opener. He ended up doing some damage. I mean, killing a probe, then a Zealot, but the Zealot you don't really care about, because there is no follow-up to kill you.
No.
And the probe, well, I guess.
And his aggression was still successful, or successful-ish, so it doesn't really matter if he had one more Zealot or not. And there, the probe is hidden, waiting to drop a pylon over on the left side of the map. But EffOrt knows he's on to him, he's scouting. It's just a question of whether or not he'll find it, and he should.
Let's see if he's... Oh, he's actually not queued right above this probe here. But there is an Overlord just above, which is actually pulling back. Well, not pulling back, sending towards the Protoss base.
So it looks like this probe will survive. No third base from no third hatchery from EffOrt yet. So playing more conservatively, getting his third queen first. He definitely knows how San plays. He's expecting this. He's playing very safely.
Oh, and 8 Zerglings
already. And Speedling will finish.
Yeah, they're going to line up pretty well with the speed here.
He's going to see it too.
Nicely
very good
done.
for EffOrt.
He needs to rally Zerglings there as soon as possible. Actually, Wargate is getting awfully close here to finishing. 5 seconds away. How many gates? We have 3 gates up, the 4th one a little bit late behind. And so this is going to finish here. That pylon is going to finish. The warp gate is finished as well. San is going to start warping in Zealots. And this got here too late.
And no Roach Warren, so he's going to have to be dependent on Zerglings. And this is that situation we were talking about. A Roach Warren, but very late.
Wow. Really surprising, by the way, this went here. EffOrt was definitely trying to shut this down, but maybe mistimed it a little bit.
And not catching that initial probe was the biggest thing. If he finds that, then everything is well for him. But as is, he's going to have to make he's not making any Zerglings, and there's already, what is that, 7 Zealots there. So this could be kind of scary. San needs to go now, though, because he's saving for Roaches. This is his timing window.
Should EffOrt cancel the third base?
He's going to have to.
Or maybe he lets it finish so he can buy himself some time.
That would be really smart.
Yeah, he's going to let it die.
Letting it finish is a good choice there. If anything, I think it would be smart of San to just like hold back for a second and let it finish so he gets the kill.
But if he cancels, then San will just march to the natural, and there's no time to get the Roaches to defend on time. So this is actually tanked some damage and bought him some time to get those 9 Roaches to basically endlessly start a step versus these Zealots, unless good time warps go down and EffOrt messes up.
I think he could have survived one way or the other. It would have been closer, but it would have also saved him another 225 minerals. It's a judgment call, one way or the other.
Yeah. Behind his San, he's getting double gas on his expansion.
The Robo coming as well, so the same follow-up.
He keeps on making probes very continuously, so he's actually He's just a little bit behind EffOrt. Actually, only 33 probes.
The Zealots are actually going back in. They're probably gonna force a cancel again.
And I think he definitely has to recall behind, because there is a lot of approaches. EffOrt really making a ton of approaches at this point to defend against this. 37 drones, 35 probes, but 10 drones were in the production tab here. And Sunny has to recall here. Okay, he's gonna do it.
So he traded one Zealot for a hatchery, a canceled hatchery, and a ton of unit production from EffOrt. That was incredibly cost efficient from San.
Pretty cool. Hallucinated Oracle gonna fly into the main of EffOrt, maybe scare him for a second. No, he does not flinch. He knows there's not gonna be a Stargate this early usually, and even if there is, I guess he had the queen in position, not much he can do. And behind this is San. Do you think he's definitely going for the same thing? Has he done enough damage in his opinion that he should go for this?
I think he has, because actually it looks like he was setting up for a third. He had a probe over there. Yeah, but either way, if you fake that Immortal all in, it's gonna 2 more gateways coming down. So even if you fake the Immortal all in and pull back and take a third, you force so much response out of EffOrt, who's already so low economy. I think it's well worth it. He should at least show it, if not actually go through with the attack.
You've said it. Force field still exists, and
they do.
He's aware of that. Definitely can still do some damage even if you're completely outnumbered.
Yeah, worst case scenario, he recalls back home and takes a third base. And EffOrt has no drones, no macro hatchery. His upgrades are kind of mediocre. He doesn't even have that many units. And the worker supply, 60 for EffOrt. That's respectable, but not overwhelming.
This is such...
No hold position on the Zealot. Small mistake from Sam. It's going to cost him a few probes.
Do you know why it was not on hold position? Because when you warp in the Zealots, you cannot put it on hold position. And you don't want to warp it in and then wait until it's warped in to press hold position. So a lot of the time, you forget to do it. In my case, every time. The third hatchery was made so late. Can EffOrt get enough units out, you think, before this hits and hold this? This looks really tough right now.
Really doesn't look like it. He has 6 Zerglings and 14 Roaches against 2 Immortals, a lot of Zealots, and Sentries. If he gets caught, he could just lose.
Oh, I see over drones. 60 drones?
Yeah.
Against 38 probes, 55 army supply for EffOrt, 53 for San. He's going to start force fielding some of these Roaches. Burrow is not finished yet. Burrow is 10 seconds away from finishing. He's going to lose a ton of Roaches. This could get force fielded behind as well. I'm not sure why EffOrt is not moving at this point. He's pulling the drones to try and help with this, but San has the Warp Prism to help and reinforce.
I can't believe EffOrt thought he could fight that. I have no idea why he pulled the probes there. That was suicidal. Burrow does finish. No Observer there for San, so maybe that's some hope. Wait, there comes the Observer. San was prepared this time.
Yeah.
And that's the last card EffOrt had in his deck. That's going to be GG.
EffOrt trying to pull back now to his natural, but I mean, he's already lost a whole bunch of drones. He's gonna pull even more now, but it looks like there is too much, and nice force fields go down here by San. He still has the Warp Prism to keep on reinforcing. I think some Zealots in support for these units will definitely help here, and EffOrt has lost so much. Down to 34 drones now. It does not look like he's even gonna be able to stop this army at this point. San is making this push look unstoppable.
Yeah, when you get that kind of advantage early on and you're willing to just go for the kill as San is, it looks so strong. Like, even last game when EffOrt managed to defend it, you have to put so much into your Roach and Link production. This game, he tried to set up for the mid game. He tried to get enough drones to keep up production, then he just dies.
And the second hatchery is going to fall here. EffOrt with his last few units trying to kite against these Zealots, but those Immortals are going to have to say something about this. 19 kills and 13, why not? I mean, they've been completely uncontested in this game. Did he even use a Guardian Shield? It looked like he was throwing down a lot of force
I don't think
fields.
he did. He didn't have very many sentries, so he's trying to be as conservative with his mana as he could be. And he actually had very efficient force fields in combination with his Time Warp.
Oh, looks like an EffOrt might be able to hold. Oh, nice micro with the Immortals. He has to be careful. Nicely done here by San. EffOrt. This definitely has to be annoying. Yeah, I can feel the frustration through watching this fight, basically.
And he takes out the Roach Warren, so that's the end of that. The third hatchery was never actually taken down.
Oh, one Immortal is gonna fall. Should not change too much in the end. 12 more Zerglings on the way, 3 Roaches as well. San, I mean, he's fully saturated on 2 bases at this point.
Yeah, that's kind of interesting.
Done enough damage.
He was actually continuing probe production throughout that. As you said, he had 38 probes when he went in, and he's now up to 44. Which is kind of unusual, as you're doing that attack to produce probes.
I mean, he did so much damage that it does not really matter. I guess he had a little bit of money. Sometimes you miss 1 or 2 warping cycles for a few seconds, but GG, he's called, and San will take the 2-0 leads after some quite impressive pushes, I have to say.
Yeah, really good decision making from him there. He never actually killed the third hatchery with his Immortal push. He realized that he had the opportunity. He should just go in for the kill and not give EffOrt any chance to actually try and secure himself. Maybe give up the third hatchery, go into the mid game. He just didn't let him do that. He went straight for the natural whenever he saw the opportunity.
So do you maintain your position on the way to go about dealing with this gateway aggression from San? Should you try 3 bases now if you EffOrt, or should you still try the way you've mentioned with the quick speed?
He seems to prefer roaches. The way I do it is, well, I mean, first off, you try really hard to not let the pylon get down to begin with, but then I make enough Zerglings to just kill the Zealots. But San is so patient with that he just sits there in a crevice, and you're not going to be able to get any kind of surround on the Zealots, and then you really don't want the Lings. So maybe if you're going to go roaches to defend it, as both EffOrt and Hydra have seemed to prefer, maybe you do just need that faster third base. You go hatchery first, then you put down a third, then you get double gas and a roach horn, maybe at like 5:30, 6-minute mark. Maybe that works out better.
I really feel like, okay, maybe I'm going to reveal a big secret here because I play a whole bunch of gate expand too, but I play this build of Sen, and I feel like one of the best builds that you can do against this is double hatchery, then gas, and then pull. Because you're going to get the speed very quickly.
Speedling?
Yeah, you're going to get speed very quickly.
Double hatchery, like 3 hatchery before pull?
Yeah, two additional hatcheries.
Well, I mean, sure, if you can get away with that, it's fantastic.
What do you mean you can get it? You're up against gate expand. What's going to happen?
You don't always know you're against gateway expansion, though. Sometimes you don't find out until it's too late.
True. But
so yeah, it's really, really risky, but if you get away with that, that's the ideal position to be in.
Which you always do against me.
You can actually, at that point, if you scout that, even if you put down the gateway, you can just drop a forge in your main and cannon rush the natural. Like,
yeah, but you don't scout with this usually, and if you do, it's after the Nexus, which is already too late, because Sans only scouts after he throws on the Nexus, or just a little bit before.
Well, what we saw from Squirtle yesterday, he actually just did a gateway expansion and did a scout early enough to block the hatchery anyway. I honestly hate playing against that.
He's the only one who does that. San
Him
plays
and North American ladder players. They do that a lot.
All right, third map here is going to be Aquilon Waste, and San is going to be starting at the bottom right-hand corner playing as the red Protoss, his opponent.
In the top left from Team CJ, the blue Zerg EffOrt.
Maybe I was a little bit too quick with this.
Yeah.
Really not used. We need Kylars.
Our observer just wasn't fast enough. We'll put it on him since he can't talk.
All right, EffOrt on this map. Is there a completely different way you could go about trying to counter San? Could you try something crazy, like quick watch?
It's a really good 3-base map. Maybe he can go with your suggestion, go 3 hatchery before pool. Like I said, if you can get away with that, it's fantastic. It's just a very big risk to take. But San doesn't seem like a cannon rusher. He hasn't been scouting early at all. Goes gateway expansion every time, and you can count on him going gateway expansion. It's so good for his style. Just gives him so much ability to put pressure on his opponents in the early game as he prefers to do.
But you know how it is. The one game you don't expect it.
Yes, of course. Oh, pool first. A more normal one, 14 pool instead of 13 pool as he did the first game. But a very conservative opening. Yeah. I don't know. I feel like this is the worst thing to do because it doesn't give you much economy. It doesn't give you the speedling control early on. I don't know. It's very conservative. It's obviously better against a cannon rusher. Like if I'm going against SOS, I probably want to do this every game.
Maybe it's one of those, he opened gate twice, he's definitely going to be trying something with the Forge here. Especially on this map, you can cannon below the natural, and then you basically essentially block 2 bases with just 1 cannon rush. So
maybe he is outmind gaming himself, but going against San, he's through and through a gateway expand kind of player.
Do you think, does it feel to you as well that for EffOrt, he's not that used of playing against this style? Like seeing him play right now, it feels like he's uncomfortable going against this gateway expand style, whereas he's probably a lot better versus Forge.
His play really looks like either him or his coach or maybe Hydra, one of his teammates, something, watched or knows how San plays and told him he's going to go gateway expansion, then he's going to zealot pressure you. It's good for you to get speedling out quickly and use that to control the probe. And so he's doing the right things intellectually. He just doesn't know where to be at exactly what times. He just doesn't have the experience at dealing with it to shut it down like you have to.
Maybe just watch Squirtle versus Hydra and listen to your commentary. He's like, this guy knows.
That could be as well. I should have been more clear for him, though. I have failed him.
All right, San goes for the Nexus, and you see he just goes for the scout a little bit before he throws on the Nexus, so that will be too late, basically, at this point to counter, because he's already made the Nexus when he sees this.
If I play against San, I will go 3 hatchery before pool. It would be great versus this.
And suddenly you're going to hear your base is under attack. Look at your expansion, and there is cannons.
And on this map, both of them would be under attack from the same cannon. And so it is looking like the exact same thing from San. Again, 1 gas, warp gate upgrade coming on out. And EffOrt actually sees the probe as it crosses the map.
Yeah, this is big here. I mean, this is still too early to send a probe across the map and start proxying panels because he hasn't even made the extra gateways now. He's throwing them down now. Actually, this is almost perfect timing to throw down the extra gateways when Warp Gate is halfway through down. And yeah, we are going to have 3 additional gateways. At this point, San going for the same thing.
Not broke, don't fix it. But yeah, that was really sloppy with him from that probe, because I mean, he saw the Zerglings on the map. They were chasing his other probe back across. He knew exactly where they'd be and when. So he's setting himself up to take that third after. Oh, he's going to take it immediately.
Wow.
With 4 gateways down.
Yeah.
That's really interesting.
Oh, and EffOrt might be able to see it. His Overlord is actually getting away from this right now. It would be huge if he was able to take the information here. Doesn't look like he's going to be able to see those rocks getting killed as well.
This is interesting.
So
he's going to do the 4 gateway pressure, but probably a very light version of it, just scare EffOrt, and then put up a very, very fast Nexus.
Are you sure he's still going to go for it because he made the pylon?
I think he will.
Okay.
He has the 4 gateways, he has the pylon there, Zealots are really efficient units, he might as well go for it. And there comes the warp in.
So funny how that probe is like locked in. And that other probe is going to fall here out on the map. EffOrt, I like the Overlord as well.
EffOrt's making 3 drones. That's really interesting. He does not seem to care about this very much. The Roach Warren just starts. No Zerglings in production.
He sees exactly how many Zealots there are, and he knows they are going to take some time to get across the map. And now with this extra warp in, I think he was definitely waiting to see if there was going to be more Zealots. He has 8 Larvas right now. What does he go for? His Roach Warren is halfway through down. Is he going to lose his third again?
Yeah, he is. And then the third base is going to come up at the same time from swinging around with the Zerglings. Normally that would be smart if San were going for more sustained pressure, but he really just wants to take out this hatchery and then put up his Nexus. So this is going to play right into his hands. 16
Zerglings on the way as the Roach Warren is about to finish. The third hatchery will be cancelled. He has to cancel it. Okay. Would be a little bit too much money to lose here. And a single Stargate is made out of San.
That's odd. I feel like that's a waste of an opportunity to get a free third Nexus. Might as well go for that. But San, forever, the high pressure kind of player. And actually a really fast lair from EffOrt here. So maybe he's going to try and go for like a Speed Roach all-in kind of thing. That doesn't tend to be very successful versus Protoss.
Okay. Still no Forge by San. I guess he's going to start adding extra gases as he was still on 1 this whole time. And I think he's just trying to pressure at this point and recall as soon as there is too much, which there isn't just yet. EffOrt needs more units. He has 2 Roaches on his natural. He's getting 2 more. Actually, he has a few coming in from the main now. San, this might be his cue to recall here very, very soon.
Yeah, he definitely should. Going to lose that Zealot, but he gets the rest of them out of there. His third Nexus has started. The Stargate's up and producing Void Rays. Oh, so this is going to be a painful game. He's just going to probably go 3-base Turtle, make a bunch of Void Rays, and wait for a Death Ball.
Do you think he knows that he's like basically far ahead enough that the only thing that could do damage to him would be like a Roach attack, so that he gets the Void Ray to be able to defend for the time being?
That's probably part of it. It's a combination. It's just Void Ray is really powerful on here because you can get the 3 bases essentially for free, and the Void Ray based Death Balls are very good. And actually, Roachling taking down those rocks pretty quickly, so EffOrt has some idea what's going on.
Yeah.
But
they're like
the rocks leading into the natural will be killed in time, but is he actually going to have enough units to deal with this well?
He needs just 2 sentries to be able to force field, actually.
His sentries aren't going to be in position unless he moves fast, though. But that Void Ray is out, so he's going to be good.
Void Ray's here, going to start slapping these Roaches down. And I like that San also has left 1 Zealot plus 1 sentry in his wall. These Overlords around the base of San need to die. He's invested into air, so why not get rid of them? But first he has to make sure he's safe at his third base. And behind this EffOrt, he's going for Grooved Spines, interestingly enough.
That kind of implies a Hydra timing, but doing timings on this map is so difficult. It's just really easy for Protoss to defend those 2 bases. You have a tight choke there, and then going into the natural, you're going into the high ground against a Protoss with a wall in and a cannon.
Do you agree that one of the good things that EffOrt could have done here, it was set up basically an Overlord highway by putting the Overlords in a straight line to the wall of the natural of San, and then he makes mass Hydralisk with range like he's doing and rallies them across the map. This could have done a ton of damage because
if you're really dead set on doing a timing, you absolutely should do that because it makes it as efficient as possible. I just don't like timings on this map. We see 2 cannons coming up. We see the bunch of Void Rays already coming out. He's going to even have charge lots.
This is going to be SOS style, basically. Some Void Rays and charge lots, and then into Storm, Archons. San has to be very careful, by the way. 10 Hydralisks are out on the map, and he's moving quite far out of position with his Mothership Core and Void Ray. This might be caught. Oh, EffOrt's going to reveal 2 Hydralisks.
Ooh, ooh.
Oh, he needs to recall. Oh my god, wow. 13 hit points.
That was very, very close. San not really needing to risk that. A little bit greedy by him there. Oh, and he loses another one due to a missed rally. Might barely get away.
Yeah.
San's lucky today. But San now knows that a bunch of Hydras out. Hydras plus Roaches equals timing. He's putting up a lot of cannons, playing very defensively. Really smart from him.
Infestation Pit plus Spire. What do you make of this? Why is he getting both
That's
of
weird.
these?
Hydra plus Infestor versus Void Ray is pretty much the best thing you can do, but the Spire is odd. I don't know how, because the Stargate's already up.
Yeah.
A Muta switch would be pretty suspect. He doesn't have a lot of money banked for it.
Any chance we see Swarm Host and the Spire is for safety?
It could be. The Swarm Hosts are, if you really want to do the Swarm Host Turtle style, that's actually a pretty decent counter to this. But he's not set up for it very well. He didn't have a good early game. He doesn't have the economy.
Yeah, but maybe that's also why he wants to catch up this way.
Yeah, he might just sit in his base in Turtle, because normally you do that to set up outside the Protoss 3 bases and wear them down. But maybe he's...
What do you mean? Have you ever seen a game of Stefano? He sieges from his base.
That is the other option. That is the very slow, very painful option.
Actually, this might be pretty good against this target style plus Charge Lot and Archon. I really think that going for Roach, Hydra, Viper, or any kind of style like this is going to be very hard.
It is, indeed.
To make work.
I really hope he doesn't. He's making lots of Roaches and Hydras. It doesn't look... And Pathogen Glands. So he's going Roach, Hydra, and Infestor.
Oh, this could work pretty well, too. We've seen...
Sand's actually getting aggressive here. If he attacks into that, he could certainly die.
The thing is, Pathogen Glands, well, he's actually far enough to start some Infestors. He has a whole bunch of gas and a supply lead, but those Infestors didn't start yet.
Even Roach Hydra can beat this army. He doesn't have Storm yet, I don't think. He has a Templar Archives, but only for Archons.
Remember when Live played versus Naniwa at IEM New York? He went for a Nidus with basically this army plus a lot of Infestors. So if EffOrt was to... Oh, he has to be careful. He gets caught out of position. He was overconfident here and moved too far out of position. Sans force fields, well, they're good enough to get rid of a lot of this army. These Void Rays right now, they're pretty happy. They're not being attacked. They're going to go to town on these Roaches and Hydralisks and EffOrt.
That was a big single force field there. That got him like 6 or 7 extra unit kills.
Yeah. And it looks like San really wants to go for it here. Even though he's getting +2 and Storm behind this, he's warping in a lot of units. He's even morphing some Archon. Next to this, he's going to send some Zealots into this base. He spots one of the Infestor now. Oh, Fungal actually quite missed here, only getting one of the Void Rays. Where are the Hydralisks? There is no anti-air.
Yeah, just Queens and some Infested Terrans. And Infested Terrans, not the best anti-air anymore. He will clean up everything, but the Void Rays survive, and the Void Rays are the hard-to-replace part of this army. As long as he keeps those, he needs to run, though. As long as he keeps the Void Rays alive, I think that was a successful attack. He killed off a lot of army.
Yeah, but he didn't kill any of the economy.
Yeah, and a big supply lead for EffOrt. I don't know. Just generally speaking, I don't think Sans should have attacked there. I think this is a defensive style. He needs to wait for Templar before he does anything.
But maybe he had some kind of a read where he thought he could make something happen or do more damage than he did now. But I really feel like San came out on the wrong hand of this deal here because...
He might have been worried about the Swarm Host Turtle style. We thought might try and get control of the game before it came out.
Whoa.
Ooh, he's lucky there's no Hydras there. There'll be some dead Void Rays.
One single infested Swarm Egg. Actually gonna be spared, and San's gonna start working on a 4th base. He's just trying to buy time at this point or do something with his Void Race. He knows that he killed basically all of the Hydras. There was almost no Infestors to fungal him and hold him into place. Actually, that fungal was wasted over there.
They're actually producing Immortals now. He's seen so many Roaches that he's kind of afraid of them. And he's not producing any more Void Rays. I don't like that. I really don't think you should be making Mortals here. I think you stick with the Void Ray, Zealot, Archon, Templar composition.
He saw that there was Infestors with Fungal, so I think he's afraid of like a big Roach Hydra Infestor army.
Yeah, you have the Templar though. That's such a good counter to everything there. You storm the Hydras, you feed back the Infestors, and then the Roaches just kind of die to the Void Rays once the support's gone.
Enduring Locust being researched here as well, so we might see some kind of transition here out of EffOrt. Still no Hive on the way. Isn't this kind of bad? Especially look at his economy. He has so much money, EffOrt right now.
Yeah, he might as well go Hive. He can afford it. The Vipers might end up being useful. If nothing else, he gets better upgrades, which are amazing on Locusts and good on Roach Hydra. Oh, nice little
Vipers might end up being useful. That's like saying the Sentries might end up force
against this composition, what do you even pull, though? Like,
Immortals?
There's no Colossus. He shouldn't be making Immortals, though. That's Sans' fault. So, I guess because Sans making a mistake, then the Vipers might be helpful.
All right. 9 Swarm Hosts are going to be made here as Enduring Locust is getting close to finishing.
So few Void Rays from San here. He's not producing anymore either.
Yeah.
The Swarm Hosts are actually going to be pretty amazing against this composition. Only Templar is not too great at clearing Locusts if you don't have any Colossus with them. And without the Void Rays, the Swarm Hosts are just kind of going to reign supreme.
And EffOrt is going to start working on his creep spread here as well. It's not been the best, to say the least.
It's actually almost non-existent. Part of that is the pressure San's been putting on, but it definitely could be much better.
Oh, this army from San actually looks quite huge here and strong, because there is a lot of Templars with a whole bunch of energy. He's on 108 army supply against 117, but EffOrt is already maxed out. San can make 17 more army supply if he wants to. He has to be careful not to get caught out of position. Nice fungal lands on a lot of these Zealots. And Sandy, I think right now he's scared of Fungal, so he's gonna move back, even though he has Templars, you know, they're not that fast.
Yeah.
And
he's scared, and he really should, because if you get that army fungled against a wave of Locusts, you lose a lot of units for free really fast.
Okay, second Robo is being made. Robo Bay as well. San wants to do a Colossus transition. He's throwing down the Dark Shrine. I'm pretty sure we're going to be seeing some War Prism Harass very, very soon, as he's going for some kind of hatchery snipe on the bottom left-hand side, but this shouldn't be able to happen. EffOrt's not looking at it, though. He has a lot of roaches next to it on the bottom left-hand side.
There's an engagement happening. Maybe. Nope. Just poking around. For the late game here, do you prefer Colossus or the Mass Error plus Templar army?
I think Colossus against Swarmhost. Oh, San's going to recall. And Zealot's got the snipe on the hatchery.
That shouldn't have happened. EffOrt kind of messed up there. But that, yeah, San is really, really afraid of getting hit by a fungal and then trapped against this army. As well he should be, but that was a very quick recall out. And the Dark Shrine is about to finish.
You know what I'm most afraid of when I move out like this? It's not fungal. It's a neural parasites.
On the mothership core?
Yeah, and then double time warp on my army. And then getting fungals.
Yep.
Yeah, finally. Because if you can't recall...
Really sucks when you get time stop, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
Powerful spell.
Only happens in PvP there for me. Oh, nice storms. Gonna do a ton. Oh, good fungal behind this.
Feedback too, but I think he got a low mana infestor.
He could actually transfuse this Swarmhost and be quite alright here.
He doesn't have. He has like one extra queen, maybe. That's part of the reason his creep spread has been so poor.
How many queens total? 4. So Greater Spire underway here, and it looks like EffOrt. He wants to free roll a little bit in this game with some free units. Swarmhost, Infestor, Broodlord, pretty nice.
Yeah, that's the one problem with going Colossus. I feel it's better against the ground army, but if you get caught by the Broodlord transition and you're not going very Stargate heavy, if you don't have this Tempest out right away, you can just kind of lose.
But I'm surprised we haven't seen any War Prism early on. Now, San's going for his first one, but there is Spores in position, actually outside of the creep. How did this... What?
He must have had an Overlord over there and then pulled it back, and the War Prism actually falls. He had some Hydras in his main, so EffOrt is well aware of this. I don't think he's going to let it do very much.
How did this Spores land?
He must have had an Overlord over there, dropped it on that, and then pull the Overlord back. Oop, but DT's down at the
he needs to get a snipe on the hatch, and we have a whole bunch of Spores just next to this as well. EffOrt really setting up that static defense here, going for the creep spread. He feels confident with this style the most, it feels, in this game, or maybe he was not feeling confident, that's why he went for it. And it's going to be interesting to see how San tries to counter. Getting the fleet beacon here definitely should be for Tempest.
Yeah. I like that. He's definitely going to need that once it gets up to the Broodlord stage of the game. EffOrt's looking really on top of everything, but he is going to have an answer to that eventual Death Ball.
And you know, when you're in this situation as Protoss, you want to send Zealots everywhere to do damage, but EffOrt, his static defense is so good. He has Spores and Spines everywhere. He's defending well. And now San, he has one less base than he... Oh no, actually, he just saturated his
bases.
Okay, they have equal bases, but he's already behind on units lost, which is a very important stat in a split map situation. So I feel like EffOrt, he has already done some good work, and he's not going to move out anytime soon. It's going to be for San to make something happen.
Oh, he had a Colossus and a War Prism. I thought he was going to go harass with it, but just a misclick there.
Who do you think is at advantage in this kind of game?
I think this is really going to end up depending on compositions. San, I like his air switch, and it really feels that if Protoss gets to that Tempest-based Death Ball, Zerg doesn't have a great answer to it.
You see what he's getting?
Is that the Interceptor upgrade? Oh.
We might see a Kaya transition here. He's getting some Tempests. He might go into a full air composition, but against Spores, I'm not sure I agree with this. He needs to try and do more damage at this point in the game, I feel.
I don't know. EffOrt is still on a very Roach Hydra army, which is not going to be very good, and he's not trying to trade those units away. He's just suiciding the... Yeah, he was just suiciding the Immortals, so he's trying to free up supply for the better units. Oh,
big Zealot attack happening on the bottom left-hand side against a lot of Spines there. But I mean, those Zealots, they have charged. They are 3-1-1. They are looking to slice down some of these Spines. But EffOrt, this is what I think is very important here for EffOrt. He has a bunch of Hydras and Roaches able to defend against any kind of Zealot Warpins, even if it happened in his main.
I'm not sure if that was a mistake, but EffOrt just ran a bunch of Roach Hydra into the Protoss army and lost all of it to storms and stuff. Oh, the Mothership Core goes down to the Vipers, Archons as well. So EffOrt's being really, really efficient here. He's definitely getting the better in these trades. I don't know. San, as much as you want him to harass here, it's just not getting anything done, and he's just kind of throwing away money.
You see the Mothership Core?
Yeah.
He tried to recall, and it looked like for a moment, I thought for a moment that maybe he had succeeded. Like
that would be sick.
An instant recall. And, well, EffOrt with those Vipers here, he's going to start trading very, very well. If he keeps on creep trading and going forward with the Spores, it's going to be very hard for San to deal with this. I feel like he needs an Oracle, And he needs to start shooting down things from afar with his Tempests.
One thing San has been doing very well that his harass actually has been successful in is limiting the creep spread. There are no active tumors out at the perimeter of it. So he does have a little bit of breathing room when it comes to that. His Tempests are coming up. He's going pure Void Rays now.
And by the perimeter, you mean that great wall in the middle of the map, I guess.
Yeah. That great wall is stuck there for now. It can't get aggressive until he gets more queens out there. And EffOrt isn't making that a priority for some reason, and it really should be, because he can't do much beyond his creep. It just gets too dangerous to engage without that and without his static defense.
3 carriers on the way. I'm not sure how much I like this, but I think not much.
Nah, I don't think so. I think a composition based on basically what he has, except more of it, I think is perfect. I don't think the carriers add too much.
All right, EffOrt here. He's
Still has that
content.
Immortal in there he needs to get rid of.
He's content with the current situations. He's gonna send some Hydras and 1 Roach to get rid of one of these pylons here. 1 Sentry is gonna try to actually to deny this. Not gonna go well.
That's a brave Sentry. He really doesn't like that Overlord. Lucas just walking across the map, not going to accomplish anything.
EffOrt at this point is basically banking a ton of minerals plus gas. Did he even make any Broodlord yet? I don't think so. He's just basically saving his Corruptors. He's gonna need them as well against the Colossi and the air army of his opponent. Has to be careful. If you get too many Swarm Hosts plus Broodlords, you're gonna be very exposed to an air-heavy army. It's gonna be very dangerous for you.
Yeah, I think he wants an engagement to happen. Try and wipe out all of the air units with his Vipers plus Infestors plus Corruptors, and then morph the Broodlords and go for the kill. I think that's what he's looking for here. But I think San is too patient and too smart to really let that happen. It doesn't look like he's going to be attacking or forcing anything to happen anytime soon.
Air weapons level 3 being researched here for San. We have 2-2 for the air upgrades underway as well for EffOrt. 3-3 for the melee ground units. So both players. They are being patient, they are getting all their upgrades going, and they are trying to get the perfect mix to face each other, basically.
And interestingly, they're not even scouting too much, not looking at each other's compositions. EffOrt has no idea that carriers are actually on the way until he's going to see them here.
Yeah.
So they're both kind of just trying to guess at each other's compositions and trying to counter it without much information.
Yeah, and a whole bunch of Corruptors were just made. 22 are out on the map right now in total. Still 5 Hadorisk and 1 Roach, which were denying that base on the top right-hand side. And EffOrt, he just moved his Spines and Spores to that 7 o'clock position. So I think he's going to try to secure that and get the complete split on the map. And from there, with the Great Wall that he still has, he should be able to keep on sending in Locusts, go for some of those. Oh, some of those Corruptors didn't want to live any longer here. And there's actually an Archon up there at the top of the wall. Oh, getting some feedback here. Both players have to be very careful. Almost getting fungal, actually getting fungal once. Those Templars very low on hit points. San is going to be pulling back. He's had enough. And I'm surprised he hasn't tried to take that last remaining base on his side of the map. San trying to deny that base at the bottom hand side of the map as well. Yeah. 3 shields on the way, 2 more carriers, and full air switch happening now for San.
If he delays long enough taking that base and the game goes incredibly long, it's a bit of an advantage, maybe, because he has more unmined resources that he has to work with. But that's very theoretical at this point. We're still a long way away from that happening. And actually, there's a pylon down here that San has. Warping in some more Zealots. Not going to accomplish too much, though, honestly. San is really, EffOrt is really on top of his defense throughout this entire game.
San already started throwing away some probes because he had a lot of them. So he's down to 58 now against the 54 drones of EffOrt. This is actually very little drones. EffOrt has made Spores and Spines. He hasn't replaced those with drones because he's fine with his economy. He already has the bank and he has enough drones to mine a lot of his bases.
And 4,000, 4,000, almost 5,000, 5,000 seems like a big bang for EffOrt, but that's honestly only 1 or 2 remaxes, especially if you're working with Broodlords, Corruptors, and Infestors. I think he might be a little bit overzealous in getting rid of his drones.
A Tempest gets caught out of position here. EffOrt on top of everything. This is not the first bad rally we've seen from San here. He is going to have to be careful. Those units are very expensive. And I mean, those games, they often come down to very few units left.
Yeah, so every little resource you waste counts. And more Zealots coming in down here from San.
Actually, the units lost counts at this point is spiraling out of control. 24,000 for San, 16,000 for EffOrt.
San is EffOrt is just being so patient and efficient here. Just letting San kind of throw away his resources. And Sen is now starting to take that top base.
Yeah, Sen, he feels like he's the one who has to make something happen. I really agree with him. He's the one who has to make something happen, but he's not willing to fully commit to anything. So he keeps on sending in those zealots that get sniped for essentially not much or nothing.
Yeah.
And he's not trading cost effectively.
No, he needs... I think he needed to stop the zealot warp-ins a long time ago. This is really just kind of wasteful. And EffOrt does finally find that pylon and shut it down. I think he should have just let that keep going. If San wants to throw away zealots for essentially nothing, you can let him.
You know, one of the worst things as Protoss is to... Oh, nice abduct here. This is pretty cool. One of the worst things that can happen to you when you have this army with the carriers and you play a split map situation like this is you run out of money and you can't remake interceptors. This is the worst feeling ever.
That's another problem with... I really think Tempest Void Ray is the much stronger air composition.
Oh, how many Tempests then?
I don't know, like 6 or 8.
Good feedback, nice storm on these locusts. But oh, those infestors, they're hungry. They want to get some good fungals. He's going to abduct the mothership core. And he recalls again. He tried at least.
Oh, and he's fungling the interceptors, so more free money given away. EffOrt is just playing this so efficiently and so patiently.
He's really just sitting there while San is throwing away units because he feels like he has to. At this point, San, it really feels like he does not have a plan, and I feel for him because I've been in this situation multiple times before. You know, I've had to play Firecake recently in a French tournament, and I can tell you I lost the 1 hour game before cheesing him twice.
Yep. Now, if you're willing to just sit there as Zerg, this style is incredibly difficult to deal with because you just kind of sit there, and you can slowly pick away with abducts and infestor spells.
Oh, losing an Archon there. And EffOrt actually making a whole bunch of spines now in that one base that he has there. He has only very little gas left, but I guess he does not want to be bothered with these zealots ever. And with the 3-3 Zerg Flyer attacks, I think if he's going to start making something happen, it's going to be soon because he's fully upgraded on everything. He has quite the bank behind it. I think he should start to realize that he has way more money than his opponent at this point.
Yeah, but it's just going to keep growing, that gap there. I don't think he really needs to make anything happen. Because like you said, San just doesn't really seem to know what he's doing, doesn't seem to have a battle plan besides throwing away units.
But he needs to win at some point, I mean.
It'll happen eventually. Just let nature take its course. The Protoss will do stupid things. And ooh, and yeah, he can just keep doing that. Like, if he keeps doing that, he's going to slowly get further ahead. And San, getting impatient here, he's actually going for a full frontal attack.
And I'm not surprised. It's not been going well for him. He needs some good storms to be able to engage into all this. He's still got some Colossus. Yeah, one of those is going to get abducted. Nice storm goes down on these Corruptors, actually doing a ton of damage to them because they were all clumped up. Those infestors, man, they want to get some good fungals. They do get a good one. Has to be careful not to get feedback,
all
though.
of the Templar. If he can get one more fungal.
Oh, barely misses. But
Two of them died anyway. One of them survived. Got the Void Rays. Just going to keep picking away at him. And San has had enough. He recalls back home. He knew he would get chain fungled and picked down there, I think, if he stayed.
Oh, San is sending in some Dark Templars in that.
But there's a Spore Crawler there, so
this is going to be spotted. And again, not a cost-effective trade. Look at the units lost. This keeps getting worse.
And in a split map scenario where it actually matters overall resources, it's not like San has 2 or 3 extra bases and he can afford to throw away stuff.
The only moment,
the same number of resources.
Do you agree? The only moment it's not going to matter is if you get a much better composition than your opponent and you crush it. But at this point, that's not the case for San.
Yeah, I don't really see what he does at this point. Seems like EffOrt has himself too well solidified and has too much economy to work with. Because normally what happens when Protoss wins these kind of games is it's a really uphill battle for Zerg. Protoss takes control early, denies or fights every base, and then eventually gets a good army composition. Here, EffOrt's just been under no pressure all game long.
Archon versus Archon. Come here. It's you and me now. And
the Zerg Archon wins.
Actually, EffOrt's infestors, they don't have that much energy. The Vipers, they're on full energy. He has 3 overseers with this. Both players have to be really careful at this point.
EffOrt's actually only on 170 supply. He doesn't have a max.
Why is he not remaking units?
I don't know. He has enough money.
Oh, nice fungal. Gonna land on these Templars. Oh, he's gonna abduct. I thought this was Neural Parasite for a second. I was like, oh, he's gonna get even more carriers.
He got so much stuff with that.
Great micro here. This is actually really hard. Microing all of these units, these Corruptors plus infestors. San going forward for the feedback, not going to be able to get it. And San's bank is actually quite bad at this point. He's going to get chased down. EffOrt has to be careful. Oh my god, one storm here.
Oh, but if he fungles the Templar. He almost got the
units I forgot about. And EffOrt notices. He's going to go for this Void Race, might be able to get 1 or 2. He's going to have to pull back now. Actually, this Void Race is going to start doing a ton of damage. And well, this one Colossus got lost.
Yeah, EffOrt just keeps being so patient and getting the pickoffs, and San does not have enough money to keep remaxing. Wait.
Sniping that base at the bottom was big here. I guess he got
actually missed that in all the action.
Yeah.
He did kill the hatchery, so there's that. But look at EffOrt's bank, though.
Well, what do you make of this 20 Muta switch?
I don't particularly like that.
Because it's only 20, or?
20 is not enough to like overwhelm and go around and kill 3 Nexus. Plus, he already has the Templars and the Archons.
And also, he only has 5,000 gas behind this, which is... If you think about it, you might think it's a ton, and it is a lot, but if you make 50 Mutas, you've spent all your gas. You're not going to have any remax on anything gas heavy, which is what you want at this point in the game.
I'm just really not sure what it's going to accomplish. Maybe it takes out the top base. I don't know.
And more Zealots being sacrificed.
I think EffOrt's enough ahead that he's going to win anyway, but I don't think Mutas are the efficient choice.
They actually sneak into the natural. If he went for the main, he could get both of the Spires.
I think he's going to get that hatchery. The Spires... If he gets both of the Spires, it matters. This is a really sloppy fight for San. He's standing on top of the Swarm Host with his Templar.
Oh, and not that many storms happen here. A lot of those Mutas are low on hit points. Actually, he wanted the Mutas to fight this head-on because there is not many Phoenixes. There is Void Race, and with the Templars could not storm everything. And EffOrt, he's gonna crush this army completely behind his San. Doesn't have any money to basically... He can remax barely once. That's it. And it's gonna take a while for it to happen too.
That worked out really cool. The Mutas were actually tanking the Void Ray fire. They're light units. They take a lot less DPS than the Corruptors do.
Yeah.
That actually worked out really well. I wonder if that's what he intended.
Behind this EffOrt, he knows that there's not gonna be any Tempest ready for his Broodlords, so he gets 7 Broodlords, 8 Infestors, getting a Queen here as well. These Locusts are gonna siege the most important base of San right now, the one that has the most money, basically one of his last mining base, one of his last 2 mining bases. And at this point, I'm surprised EffOrt hasn't re-expanded on the bottom left-hand side. And actually, yeah, those Broodlords, they were all injured Corruptors. They're going to come back to life at this point.
This is why I like this guy so much. He's so perfect in everything, so patient. There's just no mistakes all game long. Once he gets past that early game, just doing every little thing he can to get every minor little advantage.
Not so perfect in the first 2 games. No.
Well, yeah, like I said, the early game is a little bit dicey, but once things get going, he knows what he's doing.
EffOrt here is about to get engaged. I think this is going to be definitely one of the last fights of this game as San steps in there, he gets fungled. He needs more Templar. He's going to storm a lot. Oh, actually, he's getting
are all clumped up.
Some huge storm, both on the Mutal, the Locust, the Swarm Host as well. Does he even have detection here? These Archons could do some nice damage, but the Locusts, I think, are going to be too much in support with these Broodlings, because there was a bunch of Broodlords just right above this. 2 Void Rays remain as some Phoenixes step in as well. They're going to tickle these Broodlords to death before maybe getting taken out by the infested Terrans. San doing some good micro, but I mean, this is his last few units.
And he has no money, 70 supply.
EffOrt's not making army. He had like 100 supply here for a moment. He's basically, he's taking his sweet time.
Now he's making 30 Hydras. At this point, anything will finish San off. It's just enough of an advantage for EffOrt. It doesn't really matter. That was the kind of fight that San needed like 15 minutes ago. Just start trading units with his high-powered Void Rays and Templar and whatnot.
San was trying to get a good engagement the entire game, and then when it happened in the middle of the map, it was one of the worst engagement possible looked like.
EffOrt's, like you said before, just managing all those spellcasters at once along with the Corruptors, not getting picked off by Templars, it is actually more difficult than it seems, and EffOrt was just managing it perfectly, and San kind of fell apart in some of those big battles.
Yeah. Actually, looking at EffOrt's group, it's like essentially all the low-tier units on 1, Infestors on 2, and Swarmhost on 3. Not surprised here. A Kespa player, I don't expect anything else from him than at least 3 groups. It was a Warcraft player, definitely everything on 1.
I'm surprised he doesn't have at least 4 from that. Like the air units plus the Infestors plus the Vipers plus the Swarm Host plus the ground units.
And
3 doesn't even seem like enough.
Yeah, that last base with some minerals here are going to be sieged by a trillion units as San is trying to go for some kind of base trade. Well, too little, too late. You have 72 supply against 162. Actually, a lot of this... okay, not so much anymore. 20 probes to 22 drones. This is actually a very low drone count, but I don't think there is any way EffOrt could lose this. There is just no Templars on the map right now, basically for San.
That's an incredibly low drone count. I was actually kind of worried for him. I thought he was giving up on banking a little bit too early, but turns out he knew better.
Oh, 3 Infestors are chasing the army. Gonna land some good fungal on this Dark Templar, 1 Zealot and 1 Archon. But is this gonna be enough? He just has 2 more fungals. Actually, one of those Infestors is gonna... he pulled back for a second, so he missed.
The entire army is coming down to clean it up, though, so kind of going to be a moot point.
EffOrt has had enough. He's going to go for the kill here. He's going to bring the score back to 1-2 versus San in this best of 5 series. GG is called. And EffOrt finally showing us some good stuff here in a long game. You've talked about it. You said his weakness, maybe, if we could call it that, was the early game. And now in the long game, he's shown us he can take great decisions and take a good win here versus San on Akinun Waste.
In the ZVZs, he was too conservative early. Here, he just looks like he doesn't really know how to deal with San's aggression as efficiently as possible. But once he gets into a management game, once it's up to macro and decision making, and especially that game, the patience, he just absolutely knows what he's doing.
Our next map is going to be Polar Night here. Actually, I've expressed many times my...
Your dislike for this map?
Yes. How do you like it, Zerg versus Protoss?
I also prefer the macro games, that third hatchery being a little bit more exposed, a little bit hard to take. I'm not sure if I'm a fan of that. I honestly think San's going to be pretty okay with this. I think he's just going to go ahead and do his 4 Gateway Zealot into Immortal push. It's going to be really hard for EffOrt to hold off.
Not going for some kind of crazy gamble prediction here, huh?
No, I feel pretty comfortable saying that San's going to open up with 4 Gateway Zealots.
And we saw Squirtle be very successful on this map as well versus Hydra. So Hydra not necessarily being the twin here of EffOrt in Heart of the Swarm. Those San maybe mix it up and tries for something similar to what Squirtle did, or does he go for his own build? Probably going to be more likely to be his own build. And those players, they had a choice here. They could have gone for a break, but they choose not to go for one. They want to... They're
Koreans. They play StarCraft all day anyway. It's no difference to them.
I love how boldly you always say these things. And yeah, they want to duke it out as soon as possible. I mean, if I was either of them, I would understand. They just played a bit of a long game, but they wanna know who wins and who loses. They wanna finish it. They wanna win, obviously, and.
EffOrt in particular, he's on a roll. He's happy to keep playing. San, I could see him taking a break after that, try and recompose himself. That has to be a frustrating game to go through.
Yeah, on Polar Night, I think you cannot.
He knows what he's going to do.
Yeah,
don't think he needs to think this one through too much.
He's like he takes a break 5 minutes or like 15 minutes, and then he comes back and does his Immortal Pulse the exact same way as before. All right, let's jump into the game. EffOrt versus San in the bottom left. Oh no! Oh my God, that was horrible. Okay, you go ahead, man. Butcher this.
Wait, what team is San on?
Yo Flash Wolves, and I'm not sure I'm saying this right. This is Taiwanese team.
In the top position, we have the red Protoss San. And on the bottom, we have the blue Zerg from Team CJ EffOrt.
You're keeping it so simple. I'm trying to be a little bit too fancy about it. That's why I fail, I think, maybe.
That French style.
Okay, San doesn't look like he wants to go for a wall off at his ramp here. I guess if we look the way EffOrt has been countering this build from San, it's been fairly passive for the most part. He tried for pull 13 once and did a little bit of damage, but not enough for San to be scared in one of the next game by going for like super safe wall on the ramp and something like finishing Zealot every time, although it does like to let his Zealot finish and not cancel to throw down the Nexus.
Yeah, he has actually opened up the exact same way all 3 games. We saw the deviation after that last game, but still the 4 Gateway Zealot opening. I think he's very comfortable with that.
Okay, we agreed that San was probably going to go for the same thing, and I'm pretty sure he's going to. So if that's the case, I think we should keep a very close eye on EffOrt and how he tries to
actually gone gas first.
Gas. So do you think he did that gas 14, pull 14 actually, with which speed finishes around 5 minutes? If you're not walled off, you're going to take a ton of damage. The thing is, San scouts almost every single time. And EffOrt will have to be very lucky for San not to scout here and not to have a wall.
And while he's going for that gateway rush, he gets 3 gateways so quickly, he always has the wall in up pretty quickly. So I really don't see this as a problem for San defensively, but it may limit his ability to do the gateway rush, because there are going to be speedlings out on the map so quickly. And unless EffOrt messes up and doesn't see the probe, as he did on Belshir, he should be able to shut it down before it actually happens.
And you know, this might be what EffOrt wants to. He knows that if he holds that early aggression, and then in the mid-game, there is no pylon going down, as you said. This might be just what he needs to take it to the later part of the game, where we just saw he was actually quite impressive in, with all his decisions, his micro, his positioning, everything. So EffOrt, he's basically telling himself right now, don't die to these guys' cheeses or his aggression. And if I survive to the late game, I'm going to be pretty happy about it.
This is a hard map to survive on to the late game on, and I don't think San has any intention of doing that. I don't think he's
both ways, no?
Yeah. But I don't think San is going to take a third Nexus. I don't think he's ever going to be on the defensive. I think he's going to attack or lose, and lose while attacking.
Sounds like a plan.
Yeah.
Going to be throwing down the Nexus here in a second. And he went for the same scout as usual. I mean, just before throwing down the Nexus, should be able to spot the speed going up. Actually, those Zerglings, they're already out. And the Queen so is the Queen.
So he might not see the gas. He's not even going to go in the main.
He would know.
He should. But that could just be like a normal 15 pool, because it's very similar timing for the Zerglings. And I'm not sure if he saw the hatchery, and I'm not sure if he's aware enough to realize that the hatchery is like 200, 300 HP slower.
So let's see here. San is not throwing down the second gas. If he had done something like that...
The Overlord does see the probe on the way out.
Nice. San is not going for something greedy, like very quick second gas into like a very late wall. He's going to throw down his wall, and very rightfully so, because he's going to need that against the 10 Zerglings that are being made now. Speed's about to finish.
I don't know if I like that from EffOrt. I think he just sticks with the 4, gets his speed, uses them very defensively, because he's about to catch the probe on left side. Yeah, he saw it.
He's maybe hoping that he might be hoping that San does something really stupid, like moves out with his zealots and opens up his wall. Sometimes you have to try and take chances, and it's gonna look like at first it looks horrible, and then suddenly somebody makes a mistake and just dies.
He's making 8 more lings. He's just going with this.
Wow,
I don't know what he plans to do.
San saw the speed here, and at this point, the mothership core is already on 89 energy. It's gonna have photon overcharge very quickly behind this. San just has to rewall behind his zealot, maybe a pylon, maybe a gateway, and with the sentry he already has, warp gate. He's actually very close, actually 25 seconds away from finishing, so San is going to need a big rewall behind this not to die. Photon overcharge goes down, the Zerglings are going to die oh so quick. He rewalls very nicely. And I mean, this hasn't paid for itself. Behind this, 22 probes to 20 drones. This is not actually as bad as maybe I pictured it was going to be. But
that was a very efficient rewall too. All he had to do was build 3 pylons. He lost 1 gateway for how many lings? That's pretty absurd.
20 units have been killed, and since no drone died,
so yeah, 20 lings.
20 Zerglings.
And trying to lose more of them. And he's still only on 2 bases, so even if the worker count isn't that bad, only 2 bases, no third hatchery in sight. I don't know. Even his second queen.
This might trigger a huge gateway attack, likely to what Squirtle did versus Hydra, because he knows he's ahead or at the same in economy, which shouldn't be particularly the case when you go for these builds.
Yeah.
You're supposed to kind of fall behind. And if he goes for 6 gateways there, how does EffOrt hold? I mean, it's going to be so hard. He already has speed, but getting roaches out after an attack like this, while droning, is going to be almost impossible.
It's the kind of situation where either you attack and you kill them, or you attack, and if they have enough units to defend, you just recall home, and you're infinitely ahead in economy. So he definitely should be applying some pressure here, whether it be, well, it does look like it's going to be Warp Gate just with the extra gateways coming in, whether it be Warp Gate or Immortal, maybe in like a Void Ray, any kind of pressure, any kind of 2-base.
5 gates were made in total here. The probe is actually stuck in the wall here. San has to be careful. He needs to bring this out to start proxying pylons. And the roach run was made. EffOrt knows this is the most likely follow-up here, and he's also right. Oh, I like that pylon up the ramp. Able to warp in some zealots from there.
EffOrt killed the probe on the way out, so he's going to have no like forward warp in place. He's purely going to be going from that from that pylon on the edge of his base.
So EffOrt just needs to get enough units to hold this, and then he's going to be fine. But I mean, 10 Zerglings, 3 zealots, 3 roaches. Is it enough? San is warping in even more zealots behind this to rejoin his army, basically.
Yeah, he is just going to be continuing to walk down.
Finish.
He's going to lose that for sure. San taking the 3rd and 4th gases at his natural. He really should have. Taking the 3rd and 4th gases, the 4th one as well, and putting up the Robo. So he's preparing to transition into probably just an Immortal push for the kill.
But he has a Forge this game. He could go for the +1, but he hasn't started it, so maybe he just wants to do that Immortal push he's been so successful with. Oh no, he starts the +1.
It may be a later push. He's starting his Robo so late, it's going to take some time to get the Immortals up. Maybe he thinks just wait for the upgrade as well. Ooh, a little mistake from the sentry there. Actually ends up dying, but no big deal. Recalls home, going to be completely safe.
Forced a recall, actually. I guess San, he definitely would have preferred staying out on the map and preventing this 3rd from going up, because it's going to go up again.
Actually a macro hatchery in the main.
Whoa!
EffOrt's just given up on taking a 3rd base versus this guy. Like, it's not going to happen.
Oh, no, he's retaking it behind.
I kind of like that, then. He's going to have a lot of hatch. One thing is San has been very sentry light. He's not had a lot of force fields.
Do you think, I guess for EffOrt, he has to know that there's going to be the same follow-up as in the previous games. So he's setting up basically a plan now to counter it.
He's just going to have a ton of units.
For hatcheries. The thing is, San's getting a Twilight Council. He's going to play this differently. If he goes for the 3rd base here and EffOrt commits to too many low-tier units, he's not going to do well, even though this is Polar Knight and the 3rd base is going to be hard to take for a Protoss. Now, those San go for a 3rd base. He's still making probes. He already has a whole bunch. I do think we're going to see a 3rd base here out of him, which is really going to surprise his opponent.
And it's going to be really, really good for him as well, because like you said, those upgrades are just going to outscale past EffOrt so quickly. I don't think EffOrt even has an Evo chamber. He's certainly not getting any upgrades.
Yeah,
he's making 13 roaches right now.
And speed is underway as well. San with 1 Immortal queued. It's actually supply blocked here for a second, but keeping up quite well supply-wise. I guess the good start helped here. And not planning on going to a third base just yet. I guess you have to make sure you have enough units on this map. And there we go. A pylon is going to be made near that third base. Dude, I find it a little bit surprising that he goes for this one, but I guess it really depends on players.
I think he's going to play pretty aggressively anyway. I think he's taking that so he can attack from there into EffOrt's third with ease. And we actually have a War Prism out swinging into the main with 4 Zealots in it. And that's going to be great here because right now is when EffOrt could attack. He has a lot of roaches, he has speed, but that War Prism is going to force him to think about defending, not just go straight all in.
And also there is no Hydras to deny it, or no Mutas. Oh, he gets... Oh, I thought he got the surround on the Queen here. Surprised he did not finish it. And trying to get some drones here. He's actually going to kill a whole bunch.
He just hold positioning in the mineral line, and EffOrt's not moving, so it's being very effective.
Oh my god, he's killed so much...
Oh, there's an attack going into the Nexus as well. Gonna force a cancel there, almost definitely.
Have you seen the worker counts?
Yes.
36 drones to 50 probes at this point. San is in a great position. EffOrt has a ton of units. He needs to make them pay for themselves, or he needs to gain some kind of advantage.
He has to recall out of there. He's
gonna have to recall. Trading the sentries for roaches at this point is not worth it. He's gonna need those sentries. I think this is a mistake here, fighting those roaches. He should have recalled, cancel this third, retake it later. He has the War Prism out on the map to do some more harass, and he's actually going to have to cancel.
He loses the Nexus anyway, so he
16 drones on the way. This was a very good move by EffOrt here. As I said, he had invested so much into these roaches that he had to do something with them. And at this point, San, a good thing he could do is take the backdoor base. He has so many units, he would take down both of those rocks very quickly.
Yeah, especially with the Immortals there, the extra damage against armor. And the War Prism comes in again, but EffOrt this time completely ready for it. Does no damage at all. And EffOrt really has...
Oh,
I don't know if
he's going to spot it. So lucky.
Yeah. And that's kind of late, too. That's not going to kick in for quite some time, and a big Immortal Stalker push. And he has lots of Stalkers this time, which is going to help against the pure Roach composition.
I'm actually surprised, because he doesn't have that many sentries, but I guess his Stalker count plus Immortal count is good enough. Nice macro by EffOrt, picking off some of these very important sentries here. Guardian Shield and Force Field still matters. I know that San has a very strong army, but still... 32 Zerglings on the way. I like this choice too. Immortals and Stalker heavy army.
Yeah, he has 1 Zealot in that, 2 Zealots in that entire composition, but like you said, pure drone production from EffOrt right after that attack succeeded. So this is maybe a good timing. It's really going to come down to the force fields against those Zerglings.
And the pylon on the top left-hand side is getting shut down by 2 roaches. I don't know how EffOrt had 2 roaches there to shut this down, but he...
Oh, he's ferrying into the main and blinking up, but the Immortals are abandoned on the low ground.
Does he recall them? No, he's going to force field all around them and maybe go and pick them up with the War Prism. He's trying to rescue them now. 2 Immortals are going to fall. San picks up the other one. He needs to force field the ramp. Oh, this is going to be disastrous for EffOrt. Does he go for a counter-attack? I think he goes for a counter-attack straight away. We're going to have some kind of base raid. San has to know this is coming. He's warping in Stalkers back at home. EffOrt is never going to be getting into his main ever again.
No, I think you just focus down the lair and recall home. I think this is going to work out really, really well for San here. The counterattack just isn't going to work.
Actually, he might have enough at home to hold against these roaches, plus go for an attack on the natural. But I guess there is a lot of roaches headed for his base right now.
I think he's just going to do as much damage as he can. Getting the Spire, I like that. No mutas for a base race situation is always a plus for the Protoss. And EffOrt's just backing off. He's not even going to have to recall. This is so bad for EffOrt.
And EffOrt got out of there quite early here in the natural of his opponent. I think he had to do damage at this point.
He really, really had to. He lost... He's going to lose his natural hatchery. He lost his main lair. He lost the Spire, which seemed to be his mid-game plan. I don't know what he does from here.
He's trying to get 32 Zerglings out to help against these Stalkers and Immortals.
And now he just recalls home and blinks out for the natural. Oh, he might not get the natural hatchery. That is some small win for EffOrt.
Shouldn't matter. I think 76 supply against 124. Yeah. Like this is too much. Those Stalkers, they have +2, and when there is 27 Stalkers against 22 Roaches, you know you're in trouble.
Especially with support Immortals and Sentries coming out, plus the Mothership Core to help out. This is just not looking good for EffOrt here.
And you know what, San? He wanted to take a third base. EffOrt did not allow him to take it, and he's like, well, since you're gonna play like this, I'm just gonna do a 2 base. If you're asking for it, I mean.
If San wants to take a third base, you let him. You don't let him get into a 2 base. That's not what you force against this guy.
You know, this is like a reflex thing, but if you think about it, even though like we made it sound kind of silly, it sounds smart because EffOrt, he wants to go into the late game.
Yeah.
In the early game or mid game, it's never gone well for him versus San.
And just in general, Protoss is really well built for this scenario. You have recall, that's always going to win base races. You have force fields.
Actually, units get in there, but I mean, shouldn't matter, but it should not have happened here at this point.
No, at this point, I think San is the one who's being a little bit silly here. I think it doesn't matter. I think he's far enough ahead. doesn't matter, but taking a base race is kind of an unnecessary risk in this situation. But Stalker's in the third as well. All the hatchery's going to fall for EffOrt, and those roaches are all he has, and they're never getting past that force field on the ramp.
Don't talk so quick. Oh, actually,
well,
as you say that.
Maybe.
It recurs.
It's okay. The screen didn't see it, so it didn't happen.
Those roaches.
Don't look up there. Nope.
And GG's going to be called.
San wins and advances to the semifinals.
Some very impressive two-base play here. I'm not going to say three-base because he was
not three-base.
He was not allowed to take it.
No.
And he's going to be pretty happy about it because this triggered an attack, which worked out quite well. I like the move in the main. I was skeptical at first.
Me too. I thought leaving the Immortals on the low ground, abandoning like the big damage dealers of your army, I thought that was really, really risky. But he definitely made it work out. Blinking Stalkers in and force fielding the ramp, that's usually a pretty good tactic. And he managed to hold off. The biggest thing was that he held the counterattack from EffOrt with so few losses. I really didn't think that was going to be the case. I thought he had to recall home after getting the lair. It'd be a pretty even trade, but he didn't even have to recall home. He got the natural as well, got the Spire, got everything.
So San, he's going to face Hydra next.
Yep, we get the ZVP specialist versus the PVZ specialist. We'll see who reigns supreme.
Which race reigns supreme?
Yeah. I don't know, Hydra looked really good yesterday.
Yeah.
And San...
Not in the first game.
No, but eh. But San, when it got to the late game, he looked kind of lost. Part of that was just how amazingly good and patient EffOrt was. But part of it was also that he just didn't know how to make anything work. He was just sending Zealous around randomly. It wasn't really well thought out. He just lost a Warp Prism for free.
I mean, what could he make work? I would have done the same in this situation. It's very hard.
I think at that point you just recognize that your opponent has everything defended well. You stop trying to harass, and you start looking for a good big fight where you can use your Void Rays and you can use your Templar.
But that's what he was doing. He kept moving around trying to feed better. Okay.
I don't know.
Fair enough.
It did look tough, though. EffOrt made that look really hard, and hopefully Hydra can do the same. But Hydra seems more of an aggressive player. He went for timing attacks a lot in his games yesterday.
I feel like Hydra is much better than EffOrt, maybe versus Protoss.
In the early mid-game, for sure. Late game, we have to see. We haven't seen Hydra play that kind of style, but EffOrt
nobody has made it this far.
No, nobody has.
All right, well, that does it for this match. San moving on to the semifinals, where he's going to face Hydra later on. We're going to have our next quarterfinal in a moment. Not sure. We are going to show only one of the remaining ones. Not sure if he's going to be Hero MVP or Dongregu Hack. I think he's going to be Hero MVP. I think so.
It's a good choice. I think everyone wants to see MVP.
And what do you mean? I want to see Hero. Okay, I'm just kidding.
Too.
I want to see MVP
Hero's
too.
really good too. I like him as well.
All right, so guys, we're going to have a short break. Then we'll be right back with more games here in Singapore. Don't go anywhere.